started on the front of our mat. Come up to a comfortable seat and either sit on a blanket, crisscross, or hips to heels with either a blanket or not if you want the extra padding. Hips to heels is also referred to as hero's pose, and in this pose you can have the tops of your feet resting on the mat, keeping your spine straight. It helps you feel elongated, I think, in this seated pose. Or if you're seated crisscross, you can sit on your blanket and maybe scoot your pelvis forward just to the edge, and that will you'll feel your pelvis drop forward, but you'll also feel your spine lift up in your comfortable seat. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep your breath steady. And let's take a minute to arrive here on the mat. As we begin, just make notice of your breath. What we use the breath for in yoga is to help focus, to help bring your mind back to the breath. You may not be distracted by those other thoughts that are coming and going. And as you breathe, start to lengthen your inhales and similarly lengthen your exhales. Using your own count of 4, inhale fully, and then exhale fully, also to a count of 4. Feel your lungs expand. Elongate your spine, engage your pelvis, and relax your shoulders as you focus on your breath. Inhale to the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Then hold your breath right at the top there. Hold it. And then exhale fully. Open mouth. Slow inhale again. Lengthen fully. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath. This time seal your lips, and on the exhale with just as much force through your nose, Ujjayi breath, like you're gonna fog up a mirror. Inhale fully. 2, 3, 4. With your lips sealed through your nose. Exhale. 2, 3, 4. Ujjayi breath, you can return to it as we go. If you're feeling lost and you just need to bring your thoughts back into your practice, use your Ujjayi breath as much as you can. Now to go ahead on your next exhale and just drop your chin to chest. Feel the pull in the back of your head. Roll your right ear over the right shoulder. Breathe into it a little bit here, a couple breaths. Feel the pull. On your exhale, drop your neck down, your chin down, and roll your neck to the other side. Lightly land your left ear to left shoulder. On your next exhale, come on back to the other side, and if you want a little bit more, take your right hand and go ahead and add a little pressure, top of your head. Reach out with your left hand if you want even more pull, and you will feel all the way down your neck. Inhale, look up, and off to the other side. Drop your head to the left. Again, if you want more, take your left hand and lightly pull the top of your head towards the ground. The more you reach your right hand out, the more the pull you'll feel. Very good. On the inhale, look straight up, and on the exhale, look over your right shoulder. Inhale towards middle and left shoulder on the exhale. One more like that. Inhale, exhale to the right. Inhale, exhale to the left. Inhale towards center, and this time bring your hands to heart center, and we'll begin to link breath to movement. Inhale here. Exhale, open your hands out to the side, palms face forward. Inhale, palms together. Exhale, release. Inhale, hands to prayer. And exhale, out wide. Inhale, hands to prayer, and this time on the exhale, reach up with both hands. Open up your heart, look up, stretch up. Exhale, back to heart center, and we're gonna roll onto hands and knees. So come to all fours, remove the blanket out from your hips or your heels, and bring your shoulders right over your wrists, your hips right over your knees. With your chin square down, looking straight down at the mat, try to put all your pressure points of your 10 fingers right into the mat. Root right down with all of your hand. And the tops of your feet are pressed into the mat as well. On your next inhale, drop your belly, look up, reach up with your chin, cow pose. Exhale, round and empty out your lungs. Push away with your palms. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat pose. 2 more of those. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, contract completely. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. And then come back to all fours. And take your palms a little bit further away from your, about a hand's width away from your knees. And we're gonna start to just get into the wrist by rotating around a little bit. Drag your hips back and around to the side. This will be getting some juice into your wrists, but also into your hips as you rotate. Now change directions as you spin around on your wrists there, really locating all the different pressure points on your palm. And when you feel like you're even, come back to center, and this time take the tops of your hands onto the mat, fingers pointing in. Let's start with fingers pointing in. And just rotate around a little bit here. Again, just getting into the wrist creases. Now take your fingertips pointing out and do the same thing. Just roll around a little bit, both directions. Just another way to lubricate the wrist joints. We'll be on the wrists quite a bit today. The last one we could do fingertips towards your knees. You may have to really narrow your stance for this one if it's not going to pull too much. You might feel the stretch on your forearms. Just get into your wrists a little bit there. Very nice. Back to all fours now. Realign so that you're right at 90 degrees there. Spine is nice and long, crown of the head reaching towards the front of the room. And then take your right foot and put your toes on the back of the mat. Heel up, toes firmly planted on the mat, and push back till you feel a calf stretch. Forward, you feel it in your toes. Back, you feel it in your calf. And now the other side. Plant your knee back down and take your left toes back. Pushing back and feel it in your calf muscles. Rolling forward. Get into your toes a little bit. Do that a couple times. And then plant your knee back down. From here we'll do the spinal balance, which you have your right foot pushing straight back into the air, toes pointed down, heel up. And again, really ground down into the palms of your hands, right into the mat. Flex your foot so that your toes are reaching down at the mat. You feel your core engaging, and then take your left hand and reach it out front of you as if you're shaking hands with someone right in front of you. Palm is open to the right side of the room. Try not to let your hips drop to one side or the other. Reach and elongate, and then exhale, set both hand and knee down. Other side, lift your left foot off the ground. Heels pushing back towards the wall, toes drop down. Leg parallel with the floor, pull your thigh back up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, take your right hand and reach it out in front. Spinal balance. Reach forward with your right hand. Push back with your left foot as though you're standing on the wall. And really try to focus on keeping those hips square. Don't drop in any direction, left or right there. Inhale, elongate. And then on the exhale, plant your hands back down again. One more cat-cow. Cow pose, drop your belly. Cat pose, exhale. And then back to all fours. Once again with the bird dog spinal balance, you're going to take your right foot back, lift it up as though you're standing on the wall. Left hand forward. Reach it out, hold it here. You're going to start to feel the engaging of the core. And then take your left hand, open it to the left side of the room. Take your right foot and place it down on the ground on the right side. You might have to share with your neighbor on the mat. Then come up to standing here. Gate pose will have a side stretch from this side. So with your right foot out, hands down by your sides. Inhale, raise up, look up, palms touch. And then take your right hand and slide it down the right leg as you tip off to the right. Full side body stretch here. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to tip over to the side. Couple more breaths here. Focus on your Ujjayi breath. Inhale. Exhale fully. And then hands back up overhead on your next inhale. And back down to all fours. We'll do the other side now. Lift up your left leg. Spinal balance on this side once more. Right hand forward, left foot back. Building up some heat. Hips are square. Neck is long. Inhale to reach. And then on your exhale, take your right hand out towards the right side of the room. Left foot out to the left, place it down on the ground, and stand up into gate pose on this side. With the hands down at your sides, inhale fully up, and exhale your left hand down your left leg, tip off to the left side. Feel the whole right side body stretch as you inhale to elongate, exhale, tip over. Beautiful. One more big inhale here. And on your exhale, come back to all fours. And then push back into child's pose. Child's pose, you can have knees together or knees wide, whatever feels most relaxing to you. You're going to be able to come back to child's pose at any time that you feel you need a rest, you need to recover and maybe regroup. Child's pose, you have your palms really grounded and still. If you want a little bit more of an engagement, you can lift up your elbows off the mat as you reach forward. If your knees are spread wide, really work on dropping your chest down in between your knees. The yoga that we're going to work on today is just going to help us get into the joints. As you regain your breath here, 5 or 6 breaths in child's pose. Think about how we're going to be opening up on the hips, really get into your knees and elbows and shoulder joints today. If you're doing any kind of cancer treatment, sometimes the medications can have a side effect of joint pain. And one thing that I found with yoga is that it really helps alleviate the symptoms if you can continue to lengthen and elongate and really get into the joints as part of your practice. From child's pose, tuck your toes and raise your hips up and back towards the ceiling into downward dog. Now, downward dog, you have your head resting, dropped in between your shoulders there. You have your heels pressing towards the ground. They may not meet the ground, but that's where you really push your thighs up towards the back of the room to elongate your hamstrings there. First downward dog, go ahead and pedal your feet out. This is walk the dog, just to start to loosen up in the joints and feel strong in the shoulders. Settle into downward dog. Remember also to ground down your palms of your hands into the mat firmly. And then from your next inhale, push your hips up even higher so you have a nice, sharp, upside down V. And then on your exhale, bend your knees and look forward at your hands. Find a spot on the mat to gaze at as you walk towards the front of the mat into our first forward fold. So forward fold, your feet can be hip widths apart, which is about 2 fist widths. That's about hip widths apart, gives you some good stability in your forward fold. For your first forward fold, maybe grab opposite elbows. Hold on to opposite elbows and let your back and your shoulders round down. Bend your knees as much as necessary to take the pressure off the hamstrings for this first forward fold. Rest your chest onto your belly onto your thighs there. And maybe shake your head no, nod your head yes. Really let that head lengthen from the neck. From forward fold, drop your hands back down to the ground and then slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Zombie on up to standing pose at the front of the mountain. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Your feet can either be together or stay hip widths apart, whatever's comfortable for you there. Tadasana mountain pose, you can remain very active here if you engage your quads, pull up with your knee, feel your kneecaps kind of pull up there. Be sure to keep your shoulders resting and relax down and back as well. We're going to take a couple breaths here, linking breath to movement. Inhale, hands to heart center. Exhale, open up. Inhale, hands to heart center. Exhale, open up. And on this next one, inhale, we'll raise up overhead. Exhale. Inhale, hands to heart center. Exhale, open up again. Slight back bend if you'd like. Inhale, hands to heart center, and then back down by your sides on the exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at the waist, back into forward fold. On your next inhale, halfway lift. Your halfway lift, your body is at a 90-degree bend. Your hands can be resting on your shins, on the ground in front of you, wherever is comfortable to feel that you can still stretch your spine out from your hips there. Maybe think of that cow back that we did earlier. Your back actually can have a little bit of a rounding to it as you pull away from your hips. Inhale, pull long. Exhale, forward fold again. And on your next inhale, reach up, look up. Stand up, palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge at the waist. Drop down to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And then bend your knees. Inhale, reach up, look up. Stand up, palms to heart center. Very nice. Those are half suns, and we're going to add on to that now with the twist. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Now this time, on your forward fold, take your right hand and place it on the ground in front of your feet, right in the center. Bend your right knee and reach up with your left hand and feel the twist opening to the left side of the room. Reach up with your inhales, twist with your exhales. One more inhale. On your next exhale, release your hand to the ground, and we'll do the other side. Bend your left knee, left palm is planted, and your right arm reaches up to the sky. On your inhale, elongate. Exhale, twist. Inhale, and exhale, release your palm back down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And on your next inhale, bend your knees, reach up, look up, stand up. Palms touch. Exhale, Tadasana. Very good. Okay, one more time. We're going to add on the downward dog to our half sun. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold and step back. Plant your palms, bend your knees as much as you need to step back into downward dog. 2 or 3 breaths here in downward dog. And then on your next inhale, bend your knees, look forward and step lightly towards the front of your mat, back to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to heart center, Tadasana. One more just like that. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands, step back into downward facing dog. 2 breaths here as you push forward with your palms and push back with your heels. Inhale. On your next exhale, come on forward to top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, look up. Palms touch. And exhale, hands to heart center. Now you've got your heart pumping. We're getting into some warrior series. Identify your right foot. Come up on the toe of your right foot and step back into warrior one. Warrior one with your front knee bent right over your heels. Your back foot is at a 45-degree angle towards the front corner of your mat. Hands either at heart center, on your hips, or full expression of the pose. You're reaching right up into the sky. Warrior one, your hips are square. So pull your left hip back. Relax your shoulders down, even if you're reaching your hands up. Relax your shoulders down and really push back into that right back foot. Couple breaths here. And on your next exhale, we'll open up into warrior two. Warrior two, your back foot comes parallel to the back of the mat. Your front toes are still lined up, pointing towards the front. You have your shoulders relaxed down. Your hips are open to the right side of the room. Your gaze is light over the fingertips in the front. Couple breaths here in warrior two pose. Inhale to reach your arms away from each other, and on the exhale, come forward to the top of your mat, Tadasana. Other side, lift up your left heel and step back into warrior one pose on the left side. Take a minute to peek down at your alignment. Make sure your knee is not tracking in or out over your ankle. It should be lined straight up over your ankle. As you settle in here to warrior one, identify the left foot, the knife edge of the left foot is the back edge there. That's where you should be pushing back with your foot there. Pushing back on the knife edge of the left foot. That'll help you keep your left leg very straight. Inhale. Remember your Ujjayi breath. On your next exhale, open up into warrior two. Warrior two. Left foot is parallel with the back of the mat. Right knee floats right above the right ankle. Shoulders are relaxed. Pay attention to your hips here, that they're squared off to the left side of the room, but at the same time you're not arching your back, but you tuck your pelvis in so you have nice straight alignment of the spine. Warrior two. Inhale, lengthen your arms, fingertips away from each other. Exhale, come up to the front of the mat, Tadasana. Now we're going to go through that all together a little faster. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back into downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Inhale. On your next exhale, come up to your toes, bend your knees, and walk towards the front of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, look up, hands touch. Exhale, hands to heart center, and step back into warrior one. Inhale, back up to the front of the mat, Tadasana. Inhale, reach up, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands and step back into downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Push your hips high into the sky. Inhale on your next exhale, come forward into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, hands to touch. Left foot back, warrior 1. Inhale. Exhale, warrior 2. Inhale. Exhale, back to the front of the mat. Tadasana, standing pose. Take a minute here to regroup. You either have your feet hips width apart for stability, or toes are touching, heels are slightly apart. Take a minute to close your eyes if you're comfortable. Test your balance here a little bit. On your next inhale, reach up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your hands and step back into one more downward dog. Last downward dog of the flow. And on your exhale, this time we'll plant your knees down. Press your hips back. Child's pose. Child's pose is always available to you if you need a rest. You've gotten your heart rate up a little bit here, so take a few minutes to, or a few breaths to settle back in. Again, knees can be together or apart. If you're feeling that your shoulders have had a lot of work, another variation of child's pose is embryo. So you bring your hands down to your sides with the palms of your hands facing upward, resting next to your heels. And at this child's pose, you'll feel rounding up your back. It's going to feel really relaxing and opening in the back muscles. We've been on my shoulders a lot with those downward dogs, so this is a great recovering pose. Okay, a couple more breaths here in child's pose while you bring your heart rate back down. And then we're going to get up into some balancing. So when you're ready, plant your hands back in front of you to all fours, and then push back onto your heels and come to standing at the front of your mat. Do some more tree poses from here. So find a spot maybe close to a wall or a chair if you're working on your balance and you need that handy. From here, ground down into your left foot and raise up your right heel. You can either take your foot up onto the ankle of your left foot, up onto the calf, or if you're feeling more flexible, bring your foot all the way up into the inseam of your thigh. In tree pose, square your hips and maybe tuck your pelvis. You want to feel your spine really long as you pull up towards the ceiling. Hands at heart center, or play with your branches. Reach up overhead. Hands at hips, hands at heart center. Couple more breaths here. And then on your next exhale, bring your knee forward. Stay on one leg. If you fall out, come on back, but stay on that one leg standing. One-legged Tadasana, your knee is bent and you're at a 90 degrees. Couple of more breaths here. And then let's play with straightening and bending. Keeping your gaze forward, straighten and bend. One more, straighten, bend, and this time reach around and grab the back ankle into a quad stretch. Don't forget, if you have your chair or your wall handy, if you're starting to wobble, it feels good to pull up your ankle towards your rear end there. Give it a good quad stretch. Nicely done. Exhale, drop your foot down and roll out your standing leg. Let's do the other side now. Put all your weight into your right foot. Lift your left heel, either up onto your ankle, up onto your calf, or the inside of your left, or the inside of your right thigh. And find your balance. Get grounded here in tree pose. Play with your arms. If you're feeling really steady, you can reach up towards the ceiling. If you need a little bit more help in your balance, you can reach out towards the sides. See what feels good there for your balance. Revisit your Ujjayi breath. Remember to inhale, exhale with lips sealed through your nose. One more breath here on the inhale. And on the exhale, bring your left foot forward, knees bent at 90 degrees into one-legged Tadasana. If you wobble, it's all part of growth. You're getting stronger. Exhale, straighten your leg. Inhale, bend your knee. Exhale, point your foot. Inhale, bend it. One more time before we go into quad stretch. Inhale, stretch your leg out. And exhale, reach around and grab your ankle or the top of your foot. And feel that well-earned quad stretch. Still a good test of balance though. Very good. Now set your foot down and round out that standing leg. Very good. Inhale, reach, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, zombie up. Nice and slow to standing. Your shoulders, your neck, your chin comes up nice. Roll it out a little bit. We're going to have a little more balance challenge into chair pose. So feet together or hip widths apart. Sink your hips down. Heels are, all the weight is in your heels. You should be able to raise your toes, lower your toes. Most of the weight should be in your heels in chair pose. Hands can come to heart center. They can stay at your hips. Or if you want a little bit more and your shoulders haven't had enough, you can reach out with your hands overhead, arms by your ears, biceps by your ears. Chair pose. One more big inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Very good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bend your knees, reach up, look up. Palms touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Stay here in forward fold for a minute. Remember that twist we did at the beginning of practice? Plant your right palm, bend your right knee, and reach up with your left hand and feel how much more open your chest maybe is now. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, plant your hand, other side. Bend your left knee. Reach up with your right hand, not knee. Feel the twist on the right side. Inhale, exhale, plant your hand again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, look up, stand up, palms touch. Tadasana, mountain pose. Very good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hinge at the waist. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back into child's pose. Go ahead, push your hips back, knees out wide or together, resting child's pose. Find your breath, lower your heart rate. Give yourself some congratulations. That was a beautiful balancing vinyasa flow. couple more breaths here in child's pose. And then come back up to hands and knees. Walk your knees towards the front of your mat and sit your butt back. We're going to come back to our seat. We'll finish out on the mat here with some stretches and some more strengthening poses. With your feet flat in front of you here like that, I want you to slide all the way back down to your back. Slowly engaging your core as you come down. Shoulders, head last to come to the mat. Walk your feet in closer to your rear end. Parallel to each other, shape of 11s. Bring your hands down to the mat with your palms facing down. We're going to do a couple of bridge poses here. So on your next inhale, push down with your shoulders and reach your hips up. On the inhale, bridge pose. You should have all your weight in your shoulders here. Don't put the weight on your neck. Holding here, this is a back strengthener. You should not be using your glutes at all to hold your hips up. It's your back strengthener. On your next exhale, lower your hips. And we'll do that once more. Inhale, push up with your hips. And this time, if you want a little bit more, you could walk your feet in closer, drive your hips up, and you could even walk your shoulder blades in round under your back there. Really rounding the spine as you hold into this back bend. Few breaths here. And on your next exhale, lower your hips and come on back down to your back. Now for this next one, I'm going to sit up, but you can stay on your back here. Take your right leg, place your ankle on top of your knee on your back there, and open up your hip. You can feel your hip opening as you could use your elbow maybe to press your hip open. If you want a little bit more than that, reach and thread your arms through and grab the back of your thigh. Reclined figure 4 is a good hip opener. Really getting into the hip joints. Hope to see some flexibility towards the end of this week. Keep on pulling and breathing. Keep your small of your back tucked right onto the mat. Nice stretch. Release that foot. Bring your left leg long and keep your right knee bent in towards you, still on your back. Drag your knee up close to your armpit there, just to give that a little hug before we go into the other side. One more hug on your knee, and straighten out your right leg, bend your left. Well, actually bend both knees. We have to just open up our hip on the left side. So again, I'll sit up, but you have both knees bent, and you're going to take your left ankle this time over your knee. And feel the hip opening with your elbow. You can push it out a little bit. Get some juicy movements into your hip there on the left side. If you want a little bit more, of course, take your arms, thread them through, and grab the back of your thigh on the right side. And pull your leg towards you. You've got your right foot up off the ground there. And feel a good hip opener stretch right there. Couple more breaths here. Inhale, really pull it together, and then exhale, elongate your right leg with your left knee still bent. Drag it up there towards your armpit and give it a good hug. And then exhale. Bring it back down and sit all the way up. Oh, wait, do a couple of those snow angels now. So if you have your book or block handy, see how much progress you've made stretching out the chest muscles. Take your block, raise it up, and slowly roll back onto your back with your block or your book straight up at the ceiling. On the exhale, overhead, lower the book. Exhale. Inhale, come back up, and exhale, lower it to your pelvis. Inhale, straight back up, and exhale, reach overhead, drop your book, and reach your arms straight up overhead. On the exhale, slide out to a T position. Inhale, back up overhead. Very good. On the exhale, T position, still laying on your back. Inhale, arms up overhead. This time, exhale to the T position and then all the way down to your sides. Inhale, up to a T position. Exhale, back down to your sides. Inhale from the bottom straight up. Exhale, back down to your sides, and this time inhale, reach up all the way overhead. Grab that book or that block and bring it straight up in front of you, reaching towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Exhale overhead, arms overhead. Inhale, reach up, and this time slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time to sitting. So you've got your block pulling you forwards. Come forward, tall spine, and then drop down over your legs. You can set your block off to the side, but we'll do a forward fold here where we have our legs out in front of us. Lift the gift if you can't get your hips square down flat to the ground. Remove the fleshy parts and exhale right over your legs. Forward fold. Your hands can be on the mat next to your knees or your shins, wherever they land. With every inhale, lengthen. Bring your chest forward, and with every exhale, drop down over your knees. If you can reach your toes, that's great, but don't reach your heels. There's no reason to put pressure on the joints from the heels, because that would put pressure into the knee joints, and we don't need that. So a couple more breaths here. Forward fold, really lengthen the hamstrings. Beautiful. Inhale, sitting position, and bring the bottoms of your feet together in front of you here. Butterfly pose. Your butterfly may look very closed, or you may be able to open if your hips are super flexible. No matter where you're at though, keep your spine long as you hold on to either your ankles or your toes together there. And we're gonna open up our hips a little bit more with a butterfly pose. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, fold forward over your feet. Just find your edge, wherever your own personal edge is here. Flirt with it a little bit. The more you relax into it, the more flexibility, the more you'll get into the joints and even the fascia. The fascia is the connective tissue that wraps around all of the joints and the tendons and whatnot, holding you all together. And if your fascia isn't stretched and lengthened, it can get restrictive. It can become limiting, and that's where you get a lot of stiffness. So really loosening, relaxing into the pose. Work the fascia a little bit in your body. Very nice. Sitting back up again, bring your knees together like a book. Walk your feet out in front of you a little bit, and we'll do a short little boat pose. This is some core work for you. Arms out on the sides. Pick up your feet there into a boat. Make sure you're not rounding in the spine. Your feet are or your legs are at parallel to the mat, but your spine is really reaching up, almost like that cow back again. This is really good ab work here. Feel it in your core. Relax your shoulders. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. This is boat pose. Inhale. If you want a little bit more, extend both legs straight on the exhale. Hold it here. And then when you're ready, gradually come all the way down to your back into Savasana. Fully reclined Savasana corpse pose. Open up your hands so that your palms face up to the ceiling. Maybe your feet relax open. Maybe when you completely relax, your fingertips curl in a little bit. Corpse pose Savasana is the opportunity for your body to reset, for your nervous system to take in everything that your body's learned, all the different asanas. and the breath work we've done. So for the next 2 to 3 minutes, your goal is just to focus on your breath. Just completely relax. Maybe drop the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And begin to slow your breathing. Big inhales. Big exhales. With your eyes closed and your mind quiet, let your breathing return to normal. Savasana. Slowly begin to bring movement back into your fingers and toes. Maybe point, flex your feet, pull your wrists around a little bit. Bring the bottoms of your feet to the mat with your knees bent upward and walk your feet the width of your mat as your knees drop in towards each other. Maybe give yourself a hug, roll your shoulders. As you start to wake up, when you're ready, push yourself up into seated position. And keeping your eyes closed or your gaze soft, chin to chest, bring your hands to heart center. One more inhale together. Inhale. Exhale, let it out. The light and teacher in me honors and bows to the light and teacher in each of you. Namaste. Namaste.